Hello, my name's Kathy Bissell. Welcome to the Golf Show 2.0. Gary has procured an extra special guest for us this week, Lanny Wadkins, who's won 21 PGA Tour events, has been on CBS as the main analyst, has been on Golf Channel as the main analyst for the Senior Tour. He's been on Ryder Cup teams. He's won the PGA Championship. He's done about everything. Gary.
Yeah, well, you left out the World Golf Hall of Fame, which
That's true.
pretty big feat. And one of the things about Lanny's career was that his longevity was really. You were on what, like 8 Ryder Cup teams over 20 some years. You played over 30. I think your first tour event was 1970, and your last was 2001. So you had longevity. But Lanny, it's great to see you again. But I just watched on YouTube TV accidentally. I saw the 1973 highlight video from Oakmont with Johnny Miller shooting 63 in the final round. Johnny walks off the green at 18, and who's there to shake his hand? Lanny Wadkins. Tell us about that.
I was the group right in front of Johnny in the last round. I think there were only 3 people that broke 70 the last day. Oakmont kind of caught a lot of crap, and Johnny got a hard time. They're saying the course was soft, but I think Nicholas shot 67. I actually bogeyed the last hole for 65 right in front of Johnny.
You had the next low score, didn't you?
Yeah, and then I had a chance. I didn't really make a lot of putts coming in. I eagled both par 5s at front the last round, and had it going pretty good. If I'd had any kind of hot putter the second 9, I think I could have made a run at something really low. That was a day that had I had a hot putter, it could have been very special. You think at Oakmont to shoot 65, you've got to have a hot putter, but I just did it really, really well.
I don't know. Does anybody ever walk off 18 at Oakmont and say, "Boy, I putted great"?
Yeah, it's a hard thing to do. I mean, I played at least 4 majors there. I played the U.S. Amateur there in '69, then the '73 U.S. Open, the '83, the one Larry Nelson won, '83, I think it was, yeah. And then the PGA, of course, I was defending champion when we played the PGA there that John Mahaffey won.
Well, I remember when you were in your.
Go ahead, Kathy.
When you were in your prime, you were just going at pins all the time. I mean, it was kind of like, if you and Johnny Miller had been playing on the same day, it would have been like a dart show. And
Johnny and I played a lot of practice rounds together, and I came on tour that we weren't playing for a lot of money back then. I mean, my first winning check, I beat Arnold Palmer by a shot, won Vegas in '72. I won 27,000. Here at the Byron Nelson, which was maybe my second win on tour, I won 35,000. And I mean, Scotty Scheffler just won a couple million here, a few weeks ago. So times have really changed, and it was kind of the essence that when you were playing, if you weren't trying to win, you weren't going to make a lot of money. You could make a living, but you weren't going to make any money. I remember I was runner up with the Bob Hope in '72 to Bob Rosberg, believe it or not. And I'm playing the last group with Arnold Palmer and Jerry Hurd at Indian Wells, and I had a putt to tie Rossi at 18 for eagle. I ran it about 6 feet by, and I looked at the scoreboard, and I needed to make this and not go in a tie for second with Jerry Hurd and Johnny Miller. I made the putt, and I mean my second place check was 11,200. So that would have been about 8,000. So I mean, you're making no money even at second place, back in those days.
Yep.
You can buy a pretty good car for $12,000 then.
Yeah, that you could. I had all kinds of stories about cars. I had a few and had some fun. Had one stolen at Firestone. I had a brand new T-Bird. I was my first trip to Firestone, and they stole my brand new T-Bird before the last round. Yeah, I had 5,000 miles on it. I was really hot. Went down the front desk and ripped it on. We went out and shot 63 the last round, finished second. So, but anyway, there goes that car.
Why do I have a feeling that somehow, some way, somebody's caddy was involved in that?
No, it was a car theft ring out of Cleveland, and I guess they sold it for parts. The thing that upset me, Gary, is I had a great box of 8-track, classic 8-track tapes
Oh, yeah,
in the trunk that I never saw again. So it was a long time ago.
Especially
what was your favorite 8-track in that car?
I'm sorry?
What was your favorite 8-track? What was the one you hated to lose?
Well, I had some really good beach music stuff. I had some stuff by Billy Stewart and the Temptations. Some of that stuff I really liked when I was in school, Four Tops. So I had some really good stuff, the kind of stuff we listened to when I was at Wake Forest.
You played Oakmont back in the 70s and 80s with these tiny little persimmon woods. You looking back, can you even believe that?
No, I pull them out every now and then and look at them. They sure look small. And I'm wondering how I ever got those suckers in the air. And, I used to hit driver off the ground a lot. That was, one of my really good shots. I learned to hit that in 73 really, really well. And it really may have even won me some tournaments because I was able to pick up extra yardage on par fives getting there in 2. And it became a real big weapon for me. I would say much like Tiger hit his Stinger 2-iron. If I had a tight hole, I would hit driver off the ground because I knew I could aim down the left center of the fairway. And it was not going to go left. It was going to just do a little peeler to the right. So it was a very useful shot for me, particularly when I won Sawgrass, the Players. I probably hit, I would say, at least 2/3 or more of my tee shots that week off the ground because the wind was blowing so hard. And I played with Trevino the last couple of days there. And we'd have these right to left winds, and he's cutting it into the wind to keep it in the fairway. Well, the wind was blowing so hard, he was only hitting it about 220, 230 because, the wind was that hard. And I was putting it on the ground and hitting the BB down the right-hand side, and I was out driving him, 30, 40 yards. And, that's a big advantage when you've got that kind of wind blowing.
And was that Sawgrass Country Club?
That was the Sawgrass Country Club, yes.
Across the street, right. Okay. I hear those winds playing over there apparently were brutal.
It was a really hard course. I was the first person to ever break par there. I shot 5 under for the week and won by 5 over Watson. This is interesting. I had a 3-shot lead going to Saturday. I shot 76 and maintained a 3-shot lead. That's how hard the wind was blowing. I shot 72 on Sunday and won by 5. So 148 on the weekend and increased my lead. That doesn't happen very often.
Well, you hear horror stories, and apparently there was some barber chair that everybody would sit in, and you could, if you sat in the chair, you could say anything you wanted, and nothing would happen to you. Is that right? Yeah,
I think they did, and I think they even moved it over at one point in time to the new course. I don't know if it's still there or was in effect there much at all, but it was quite a time. They used to do a ringer score of high scorers, and it was pretty ugly.
I do that sometimes reporting on the Players Championship here still, and it can be pretty ugly. I mean, it's, you get some wind on TPC Sawgrass, and you can lose a lot of golf balls.
Yeah, I played there a number of times after I won, obviously, at Sawgrass. Another, probably when they opened it, what was the first year? 86 at the new course? 82. Okay. Well, I played there another, 10, 12 times. I never saw the wind over there like we had it. And actually the year after I won, I want to say Raymond won, but they shot some lower scores. The wind, maybe the couple of years right there, we had some really bad wind. Playing there 1st of March, you can get some nasty wind conditions in Jacksonville.
Yeah, it gets brutal.
Going back to Miller 63, can you recall how stunning that score was in that situation, given all the Hall of Famers who were right there in the hunt that day? And did you say anything incredible to Johnny afterwards, or did
not
you
really? Just great playing.
What did you say?
I just said great playing and congratulations, because I thought when he finished he had won. He wasn't over yet. I think John Schlee, of all people, had a chip at 18 to tie him from the back edge. If memory serves. Yeah, and Jerry Hurt was in maybe that last group. And Jerry Hurt and Johnny Miller and I were really close back then. We all had the same business manager out of LA, and so we played a lot of practice rounds together, had some of the same endorsements, and did outings together. So we were all really good friends. When we played the tournament in Greensboro, they stayed at my house over at Bermuda Run in Winston-Salem. So we were all good close friends, and it was fun. Jerry and I actually won the last CBS Golf Classic together that they ever played. It was a team thing. As you know, it was filmed in '72, I think, and shown in '73. That's the way they did it back then. So they were good friends. I still see Hurdy once in a while when I'm down in Fort Myers, and I've talked to Johnny here and there. So it's we try to stay in touch when we can.
Where does Oakmont rank, do you think, among the locations the USGA uses? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Is it the best test? Is it the hardest? What did you think of it as a player?
It's interesting. I actually like the green complexes because it took imagination to play them. I like the variety of holes. I thought it was a very, very difficult driving golf course. You had a couple of blind tee shots, and then you had a lot of holes. I felt like you had to put it in the right quarter or left quarter of the fairway for the ball just to stay in the fairway.
Yeah,
The fairway sloped a lot. The fairway sloped a lot, and I thought it made driving the ball very, very demanding, more so than being a second shot golf course. So if they've got really high rough, which I've heard they do, then I think driving is going to be at a premium this coming week at Oakmont. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't know. I've never. I enjoyed playing Oakmont. I know it's a hard, good test. I think it probably fits nice in the USGA rotation. When I'm thinking of the great golf courses, I never put that in my top 5 or 8. It just and it's not that I don't like it. It's I don't know. Maybe it's just
what are your top?
different. Yeah, it just to me it doesn't compare to in a lot of ways to Pebble Beach or Riviera or Shinnecock. You get ones that I would put right at the top, but. And I really haven't been back and seen it with all the trees going either. So I'm a Virginian. I like trees. I don't like when things get scalped. I'm not a big fan of what some of the architects do these days with taking every tree in sight out.
It's a shock.
Well, a lot of the trees at Oakmont weren't in play. They were there for looks, but the ones I thought made a difference, there were some behind the 17th green that at least created a backdrop. Even though that green was tiny, now when they're gone, it's you can't see anything up there. You feel like you're hitting to a coffee saucer, and it's visually intimidating on that hole. And that surprisingly, that 17th hole has really been maybe the single most key hole in all of the last 3 or 4 opens there.
Well, you look what happened to Phil Rogers there when Nicklaus and Palmer played off. Rogers made 8 there, like the 3rd round or something. It's 17 and missed the playoff. But I know that coming down.
I think Tiger bogeyed it the last day, trying to catch Cabrera, or didn't birdie it. I forget.
Yeah, but it's a cute little hole, and I think you just got to. If you're a good wedge player, you play it out in the fairway and play to your strength. Don't try to drive it and accept a wedge shot. That was the way I played it. I wasn't long enough. I was plenty long. At that point in time, but not long enough to ever get to that green. So I think I hit forward off that tee and then played wedge in most of the time. Made a lot of threes there. So I didn't mind that hole. But when it comes to trees, I think they frame a lot of holes. I think they do give depth perception. When I'm standing on a tee, I want the hole I'm playing framed. I want it telling me what to do. I don't really have to stand on a tee and see 5 other holes to feel warm and fuzzy about this golf course. I want to see the one I'm playing framed and telling me what to do and where to go.
Well,
so when you're at the British Open, you're like Sam Snead. He gets off the train and goes, "Where's the golf course?"
Yeah, understandable. And I mean, my first trip over there was the '71 Walker Cup at St. Andrews. So my first exposure to links golf like that was St. Andrews, which was. Actually, it was pretty tame. Then the next I think the next time I really played there might have been the Open at Troon in '73 that Weisskopf won. And you talk about, when you're getting your own yardages back in the day, you're going off the flying fence post over to the right, and you've got to line yourself up to get yardages. It was quite unique. But I thought that was the one that really opened my eyes to true links golf. St. Andrews. I had a good caddy for the Walker Cup, and then playing there, you had a sense of where to go, especially going out. It wasn't completely blind like some of the other courses that they do play in the rotation.
you had such a great career, and yet for all your talent, you had one major. Of course, you're playing in the era of Trevino, Nicklaus, Miller, Watson. I know you're disappointed to not have had a few more majors. What do you think? What do you think was the difference, or was there anything that was the difference between you and, because you had a number of close calls?
I did. I mean, I had 9 top threes in majors, so I was right there. I've got 4 silver medals sitting over here in a case that, you know, dictate runner-ups in majors. So I had my chances. I lost 2 U.S. Opens in a row by 2 shots. Lost a PGA in a playoff. So I came close, and I kind of blame it on putting, Gary. I was a sporadic putter. When I was good, I was very good, but then it wasn't. You know, I worked with Phil Rogers and changed my putting in about 1981, and then I worked really hard on it for a long time. The mistake I made was not going back and working with Phil on a regular basis. Yeah, I'm hard-headed. I had, you know, my pro that taught me to play died in 70 when I was at Wake Forest, and I didn't really work with anybody again until I worked with Dick Harmon in 85. So I kind of took the same thing. You know, I dug it out of the dirt, so to speak. So when it came to putting, I thought, okay, I got my lesson from Phil. I can do this on my own. Well, I should have been back fine tuning with him, you know, a couple times a year. I think it would have made a big difference because when I look back at the, you know, 3/3 in the Masters, what cost me? Putting. U.S. Opens that I didn't win, the one at Oakland Hills, you know, probably putting. So, you know, things like that, you know, that stand out. To me, I don't ever go back and say, gosh, I had a terrible drive there, or that iron shot cost me, you know, a U.S. Open or a PGA. It's usually the putter that I go back to. So I think that was the one thing that made a difference. That's the one thing, if I had to do over, I would have definitely spent more time with Phil Rogers.
I want to hear about your top 5 or so golf courses. You mentioned Pebble Beach.
Well, Pebble, I just think Pebble is really special. I mean, I think it's not only a great golf course. I played a bunch of majors there. I did win the PGA there. So, yeah, but I think it's just a gorgeous golf course. It's as pretty a place as you'll ever play in the world. And then it's a great golf course on top of it. And you've got, yeah, it's just one of my favorite places to be is right there in Carmel and Pebble Beach and Monterey Peninsula. It's just a great spot. Then Riviera, I just think, is a ball striker's paradise at Riviera. I mean, I won there a couple of times, and I counted up one time when I was really swinging, playing well. I think I won an 85 by 7 shots. I think I counted up one round. I hit 9 different kinds of tee shots, and this is with the old wooden hit. You know, from either a certain height or moved it a little bit left, but they weren't the same. In other words, I was doing shots that fit the hole. So, you know, so that was what I saw, and I was able to do it. I had great control of my ball at that point in time. And so that was, you know, and then I think Shinnecock is probably the best American golf course that I've played. I just think it's so special. It's just incredible. So then as far as when it comes to courses I really enjoy, I loved Harbor Town, love playing there every year. You know, I love Southern Hills and Tulsa. I love the old courses. I really enjoyed playing Marion. I played my first U.S. Amateur at Marion when I was 16 in 1966. Gary Cowan beat Dean Beeman in a playoff. Played my first U.S. Open there in 71 when Trevino beat Nicklaus. I finished 13th as the U.S. Amateur champion, which the big deal about that finish was at the time I turned pro between that U.S. Open and the next year. Well, that finish at Marion in 71 for me got me in the Masters and the U.S. Open as a rookie on tour. I remember going to the Masters, a bunch of these crusty old sumbitches, excuse me, you know, the old boys that played the tour that didn't like seeing youngsters play. What are you doing here, boy? I said, remember that U.S. Open thing at Marion? I finished 13th. Oh, yeah. You know, so that's the way they were back then. They didn't want you playing any more than you could get in.
That's right. Well, because there wasn't much money there. Like you said, everybody was fighting for every dollar.
They were. That's a very good point, and that's the case. And you know, endorsements weren't that big. And I remember turning down stuff, you know, to be on sleeves with things that I thought would be because it was $5,000, and then $5,000 wasn't worth a logo being in my way when I was playing. today that would be $250,000 and you'd probably leave it there. So things are different.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like the senior tour now. The last thing, those guys out there who are exempt, they don't want anybody new, or especially a club pro who can really play. They don't want them coming out there. They got competition.
I got to tell you, from a standpoint of doing that TV for a while, I will say this: it's called Champions Tour for a reason.
Yeah.
The guys that move the needle are the Ernie Els and Retief Goosens and Bernhard Langers. They're the ones that the people are coming to see. Now you get a story like Steven Alker, which is incredible, and I'm a big fan of Steven Alker's. But he earned his way. He came out there. He Monday qualified to get in. Then he finished top 10 like 5 straight weeks, which got him in the next events. He wasn't getting sponsors exemptions like we've had some people do over the years. He earned his way in and eventually won a tournament. So you can't complain over what Steven Alker has done. So there is an avenue for guys that can play and work and get it done. And you can go to Q schools for guys that have done that and done very well. There are not many spots, but there are not many spots in any Q school, even on tour stuff these days. So
it's pretty hard.
Yeah, it's hard for anybody to move the needle coming from the outside. I mean, Walter Zembrisky, just because his story was so unusual, is one of the rare ones. And there was another guy, I can't think of his name right now, but those are the outliers. People want to, really, the tour was invented for Arnie, and then for Player and Trevino, and then for Jack. And unfortunately, Greg Norman didn't play the senior tour. It's for a brief time. And
quite honestly, Curtis Strange didn't really play. Crenshaw was never a factor out there. So some of the guys that could have been, factors, and they didn't elect, or the games had, and even Paul Azinger. They didn't work hard enough at their game, or they weren't patient enough to get it done out there. I only played a very short period of time myself. I won my first tournament ever out there, but then I started doing.
I was there for that one.
Well, I got in, then I started doing CBS. So it was, and I played maybe 10 times a year, and you can't really be effective just playing, that many events a year. So, I enjoyed it, but it was, I loved doing TV out there with those guys. It was fun. I had a great crew to work with: Bob Papa, Billy Ray Brown, John Cook, John Mahaffey. There was some spectacular people to hang with, and we probably ate too much, drank too much, put on too many pounds.
Not you.
Around, but we had a good time doing it.
Well, yeah, but there are people and you're comfortable with, and you can all agree on a restaurant and all that kind of thing. That stuff is important.
Yeah, it is. And it's been kind of fun. If you think about it, I've taken, I had a career playing, then I had a career doing TV. I did TV 18 years, and now I've got the golf course design stuff going on. And right now my company's doing the renovation of Craig Ranch, where they played the Byron Nelson. It's a $22 million renovation. I've done about 8 projects for Invited, which owns it. So it's been a lot of fun. So here again, I've got a real good team with me. My lead architect was with Jack Nicklaus 15 years, and I've got another guy named Marcus Reams who's built over 35 courses around the world. So I feel like we're covering it from all the good angles, and we're having a lot of fun at Craig Ranch right now. It's a hurry up project. It's one of those things that's got to be done. We didn't start till they finished the Nelson. Now they want to have it back open in November for the members, and us be 100% ready for the tournament in May. So we're busting it pretty good right now.
They're just not going to let you retire no matter what you do.
I don't. I've got. Gary, I don't think Penny wants me sitting home all day. She's ready for me to be out of the house. That's what she's used to. So, I just go out there and stay busy. I just try and keep busy and keep going.
Now, when you work on a design, and you look at kind of the corridors or something, are you changing corridors on that course, or do you just keep the same corridors and make adjustments within?
No, we have the same routing, and my philosophy, it's the Tom Weiss golf course, so the bones there are really, really good. So, but he didn't do this for a tournament. The bunkers were a long way from the greens. It's a pretty big piece of property, so we have a lot to work with. We took every bunker that Tom had put in out. So we're rebunkering the whole place. We're redoing every greens complex. We've changed grasses. We've gone to, Stadium zoysia, and we've gone to 777 bent on the greens, Tiff Tough Bermuda roughs. So it's all coming together very nicely. But we are having the same routing. We've changed a couple of pars, switching a par five to a 4 and a 4 to a 5. So we've done some of that just with tees and things like that that I think work better. It should be very exciting. I'm probably more creative in my green designs than Weiskopf was. I'll have more movement. I think my greens are more reminiscent of old school architects of a Tillinghast or someone. I mean, I've even got a par 3 with a Biarritz in it. So, I mean, we're doing stuff that people don't normally do. You know, that's Seth Rayner stuff. So,
And you can keep the bent alive down there.
I'm sorry.
You can keep the bent grass on the greens alive, and that takes a lot of watering on it.
Well, we can. We can do it down here, and most of the really top courses in this area are bent in Dallas. I mean, Preston Trail, Vaquero, Dallas National, they're all bent. Some use fans, some have sub air. They're actually kind of blessed at Craig Ranch that every green is kind of out in the open, and it's in an area that the wind blows a lot. So there's a lot of movement up there, even when it gets real hot. And the 777 bent is more heat tolerant and cold tolerant. So it should be a very good grass from what we've seen. So we're pretty optimistic.
I was going to say they keep inventing new strains of grass. If you're not an agronomist, you can't even keep up. So we've got bent that's stronger and can go farther south than ever before.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, a lot of even further south than here. I mean, the course I did in South Texas, Lajitas, which has been the #1 ranked course in Texas that you can play for the last 12 years, down on the Rio Grande. I've got wall-to-wall platinum paspalum down there, greens, tees, fairways, everything. So, paspalum fits in. We didn't have good soil or good water down there, and paspalum's another grass that when you have those conditions really works well. So, it's been an interesting process and been fun to be involved in all this.
Do you feel like you're more Texan or more Virginian at this point in your life?
I've always considered myself Virginian, quite honestly. I mean, I've been here now closing in on 50 years.
Yeah, I know. I wondered.
Yeah, Penny and I've been married 47 years, maybe this year. And so I've been here a long time. My boys are here. My new granddaughter, 7-month-old granddaughter, obviously is right here. So we're having fun with her. But it's fun for me being here. I've been a member at Preston Trail since 81. It's, and the cool thing about that, I actually won the Byron Nelson at Preston Trail. So I'm a member and play daily at a course that I won a tournament on. So
that has not happened very many times on the PGA Tour.
No, it doesn't.
You're kind of a hero then when you walk in the door.
Well, I don't know about that, because you go to the practicing any day. And I mean, if I'm out there, go to hit balls, here's Lee Trevino and David Graham on one end and me over here. And here comes George W. Bush running through, going to play a quick 18. So
yeah,
I am nobody special out at Preston Trail, trust me.
Well, we can't let you get out of here. I mean, we got to talk about the current state of golf, and there's a couple of Texans, or at least they live in Texas, who are pretty darn good. You got Scotty Scheffler and Bryson DeChambeau, who are two of the top players. Talk a little about how good is Scotty, and I'm so impressed with Bryson. I've never seen a player who's been so innovative in so many things. I mean, there have been very few players really since Saracen invented the sandwich who were innovative at all, and he's done a lot. But tell us about Scotty, and then a little bit about Bryson.
Well, I mean, Scotty, I actually see Scotty and Jordan Spieth are both honorary members at Preston Trail as well. And they will come out there and work because they come out there and they can hit balls and nobody bothers them. We've got tees at both ends. We've got all the stuff you could ever want, from TrackMan and launch monitors, stuff like that. And we've got different grasses. We've got tees that have zoysia on it and tees that have Bermuda. So a lot of times Scotty will be out there. He'll even bring Randy Smith there once in a while when they want to really get in and do some serious work. But been really impressed with Scotty. I just think he's fun to watch. I like the fact that his swing is an original. I love guys that are successful with their swings, not some homemade, not some, paint by numbers golf swing. Scotty
they own it. They own their swing.
Yeah, he owns his swing, and he and Randy have worked it for a long, long time. And kudos to them, to making it work as well as it does. And, he's a ball striking machine. He is something to behold. And when he's at a Preston Trail, the thing I've noticed, he tends to be working on distance control with his irons as much as anything, which that's a big telling thing. I always felt the best iron players hit it hole high, a la Ben Hogan, Johnny Miller, all the time. The dispersion pattern front to back is very, very tight. And people sometimes worry about the side to side, whereas, the number of times I'll sit and watch a telecast and watch Roy McIlroy blow a wedge over a green, you don't see that happening with Scotty. So I'm really impressed with the way he controls not only the height of his golf ball, which I think that's an advantage growing up in Texas because you're going to play in wind, is controlling your trajectory. He's very old school. I think Scotty could have played in the wooden club, spinny ball days that I did and been very, very successful. Just like I think Nicholas or Weiskopf could have played in today's, golf with today's equipment and been every bit as good, if not better. I think,
on top
the way
of
they
that,
play.
Scotty's probably, his short game, his chipping is unbelievable. I mean, he reminds me of Tiger in that he's hitting it closer than everybody all day long, and he's chipping it better than anybody. I mean, the secret of golf that Tiger showed is don't make bogeys, and that's exactly what Scotty does.
Yeah, it is. And Gary, think about this. If you've got that good short game and you're confident in it, it gives you more confidence to go at hole locations that are tucked. You're not playing it 20 feet left. You're taking on because if you miss it, you can get it up and down. So it's going to give him more short putts for birdies because he is being more aggressive with his irons because he knows he's got that in his back pocket that he can always get it up and down, maybe even, hole a bunker shot or hole a chip. So I think that is a confidence factor, something that he's got, in his head. It gives him a big advantage over everyone else.
How about Bryson? Do you know him at all? And
I do not know Bryson. I've seen him around a couple of times playing in Dallas, but very interesting to watch. I mean, obviously, looks like he's totally out of control, but he's obviously not. He's got an amazing, record in majors, which is where generally the top players, cream rises to the top, and he's got a lot of game, got a lot of heart. I mean, he's not afraid to try things. Obviously, I don't know this, but I don't know I've seen his club set up. I've got to think that sometimes he could benefit from a more traditional setup in his golf bag, particularly in the short irons. But he seems to make it work very, very well. But the one thing that looks to me is he's got to get his ball flight straightened out with his irons. He's got a lot of curve there, and especially going right to left. Whereas Scotty's working it both ways. Scotty's not afraid to work it right to left or left to right. That's the advantage of an upright swing. The guy that swings upright, Nicholas Miller, I was there. I played from the center of the green to the flag, both ways. So I think that's, what the one thing that could be missing in Bryson's arsenal.
Well, he's up in the top 5 in every major. He's given himself chances to win when he plays well. And if he doesn't play well, he's there in case somebody else drops the ball and wants to hand it to him. So he's been impressive.
Yeah, but when you're looking at Scheffler and McIlroy at the top, they don't drop many balls.
No, they don't.
It's not that easy. Well, we can't leave without all of us making a few predictions on. Let me ask you one more thing. I know you're friends with Will Zalatoris. I'm really disappointed for him. He's back acting up again, and I hope it's not too serious. But have you talked to him since the latest back incident, and how's he doing?
Yeah, I have not talked to him. I've tried to reach out, but have not gotten in touch with him. I know his family well. He played on the same high school team with my son Tucker and Kramer Hickok. So that high school team was better than most college teams. They won every tournament they played all year, about 30, 40 shots.
He's such a ball striker.
Yeah, he is. And I've seen Will grow up at Bentry where my boys grew up playing. I've seen Will play since he's been 5, 6, 7 years old and have played a lot of golf with him. And he's a wonderful, delightful young man. And I know his parents well. We spent time with them. But I feel for Will. I hope this thing can be worked out and he can get back in and have plenty of career left. He did have it done, his back done at Texas Back Institute, which is where Trevino had his done. I had mine done. Tiger had his done, all at the same little place in Plano on Parker Road. So they're very capable over there. They've dealt with a lot of athletes. I know a couple of the docs that are golfers there. So I like the fact that people working on him understand golf and what he's trying to do. I think that's not just some bone cutter going in there saying we want to do this and this. They understand what he wants to achieve. So I think that's probably going to be a good thing for Will.
Okay, well, who's going to make
it? Who do you like at the Open?
With everything that's going to happen there, I really hard to pick against Scotty. I think Scheffler's going to be awfully good. McIlroy's form looks a little off right now, so I don't think you can go in there not hitting on all cylinders. And I don't know if
he said something curious, Lanny, that the other day or at Canada, because when you win the Masters, you can complete the Slam. It's hard. He said it's hard to keep pushing yourself a little bit. And the fact that he would admit that, I mean, and complacency is human nature. I thought that would happen to him after the Masters. I didn't pick him for the PGA just because I thought what an ordeal he had to get to that, to win that Masters and get the Slam. Like, that takes a lot out of you. And how could you not feel like you climbed the mountain and that's all there is?
Yeah, and I think the fact that he had to work so hard to win it, he made it hard on himself with some of the shots he played coming down the stretch, dumping a wedge in the water at 13, things like that. So, I mean, he made that win a lot tougher than it should have. But kudos to him for regrouping and playing, the last couple of holes the way he did. And then the playoff hole was just majestic. So it was great to see. But he does look like he's just not, quite ready to go right now. They got the new big house in London. They're, everything going on. And who knows? I mean, it's I expect him to be back in form at some point in time. It may be too early yet, with the Masters hangover. No question.
Yeah. If not Scotty, who do you like at Oakmont?
Gosh, I haven't even thought a lot about it. Just look at who's on form right now, playing well. I usually like to go to people that are playing well going into the Masters. And quite honestly, I haven't paid much attention to it lately. I've been so daggone busy. So, but I do like Scotty a lot. I'm gonna give you a real dark horse. I kind of think I'm seeing some really, really good stuff from Jordan Spieth, and I would not be shocked at all if Jordan were to put it together. I keep thinking he looks really close. He played good at Memorial. He kicked away a few shots at the end, but he played a good hard golf course well there. He made some putts. I wouldn't be at all shocked if Jordan had a great U.S. Open. He's driving it pretty daggone straight right now, and that's going to be a big asset at Oakmont.
Well,
I'm getting a wager down. Kathy Bissell, who do you like?
I like somebody from back in the pack, like somebody from 20 to 30. Just because of the people who have won at Oakmont in the past. And I don't mean no disrespect to Johnny Miller, but it was his third tournament. He wasn't Johnny Miller yet, if you know what I mean. He wasn't the big star that he became. And so many of the people who won there weren't, or it was unexpected that they would win. Even Ben Hogan, he was coming back from that horrific accident. That was the year he won the Masters, the US Open, and the British Open. And I'm sure nobody expected him to win. I think
names, Kathy. Give us names. Give us names.
I didn't think of names. I just think it's an unexpected person.
When Larry Nelson won, he was a pretty solid performer at the time, and Jack Nicklaus was a pretty solid performer. So, I mean, it's gone both ways. Oakmont, it's for as great and hard a course as it's kind of quirky in spots. And I think that the person that really avoids the big numbers and keeps in there that course will probably require as much patience as any U.S. Open course I can think of.
The guys who hang in there. I mean, if you go back to 2016, Shane Lowry had a 3 or 4 shot lead going into Sunday. He drives it pretty straight. Andrew Landry was up there. He drives it straight. To be in the hunt, you kind of got to drive it straight. And then the guys who wind up winning are the best iron players, the guys who keep it in play. They've all, Cabrera, Jack, they've all been, Johnny, they've all been great iron players. So, I mean, you can't not like Scotty, but I'm going to go with a guy who's top 3 in driving accuracy and greens and regulation. He's played well all year. My pick, I like Lowry, but my real pick is Sepp Straka.
Oh, that's
he
a good
just
pick.
drives it on the string.
That would be a big ask for him to handle that. But I think the fact he's won already this year bodes well for him. He's a nice looking young man. He can really play. There's some good young guys that can play very, very well. You know, I mean, the guy that I really like, I like watching Oberg play.
He's fabulous.
He's got a lot of game. Whether he can keep it together, he might be a little young to win on that course right now, but he's so capable of going really low. He's the kind of guy, if he can stay within 4 shots and then put one round together somewhere, he could be right there.
I agree with that one a lot. He has impressed me. I thought that there was a chance that he could be the next big thing, but
he's just getting started, and he hasn't even gotten on a roll yet this year. So
no.
This could be the week if he gets it going. I mean, who knows? Yeah, he's a great pick.
Yep. Well, we should go. Lanny's busy. Yep. Everybody has dinner.
Great talking to a Hall of Famer anytime, and it's great talking to a guy in TV who knows how to talk in front of a camera, unlike one of the other 2 people on the screen. That would be me. So what a treat, Lanny. Thanks for telling us about Johnny Miller in 80 and 73. And
it was very thanks, Gary.
Can't wait to see TPC Craig Ranch next year.
It should be fun. We're very excited about what's going to happen. This is a big chance for us to take a step forward in what we're doing. Kurt Bowman and myself, Kurt's my architect, and we've been given a great canvas to work with out there. So it's on us, and invited, quite honestly, has said, you're the architect, you do what needs to be done. They're not sitting here looking over my shoulder every 5 minutes. They're letting us do what we think needs to be done to make it a great golf course, and that's what they're after.
If you don't make a couple of PGA Tours cry a little bit, we'll be disappointed.
I'm trying. Well, the guys that invited were tickled to death that Scotty missed 2 putts coming in, or he'd have broken the all-time record, and they'd have been stuck with that on that course forever. So they were actually glad he tied it, didn't break it. So I don't think, I'm looking. I really feel like with what we're doing, the winning score ought to be somewhere between 10 and 1500 next year. So that's what I'm looking at.
That's a nice.
Thank you, Lanny Wadkins. Take the rest of the year off, if only you could.
Yeah,
maybe you can retire later next year.
All right, thanks, guys. Good being with you.
Thanks, Lanny.
Bye.
All right.